guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. For today's video, we are going to be talking through beauty products that I have fallen out of love with. I've seen this trend going around for a while, but I always thought that I wasn't going to be able to participate in it because, as many of you I am sure have started to realize by now, when I find a beauty product that I love that works well for me, I tend to hold on to it for dear life and I have a really hard time letting go. But I was scrolling through my old videos and I was like, wow, there's actually a lot of products that I used to rave about and absolutely swear by that I just don't use anymore. So if you would like to hear which beauty products from my collection have officially been retired, then we're gonna jump into all of that in a second. But before we do, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, click on that notification bell, and drop a comment below letting me know how you are doing today. I hope you guys are doing great, and thank you so much for doing those things because it really helps to support me with the YouTube algorithm. If you need anything from me, check out my description box below. I have Lightroom preset filters for editing your Instagram photos, my SPF merch, timestamps, discount codes, links to any products that I'll be talking through today, and links to my favorite beauty products of all time. All right, let's talk beauty graveyard. All right, first up is Function of Beauty, which is a hair care brand that I purchased back when I first started experimenting with hair care content on YouTube. At that time, I definitely didn't have the level of knowledge that I do now about hair care, so I totally got sucked into the whole idea of needing to have customized hair care products that are specifically catered towards your hair type and needs. I thought it was a really cool concept. I really enjoyed my products at first, but as time went on, I just realized I was never reaching for Function of Beauty anymore over my other tried and true shampoos and conditioners. I just liked those more, and that's not to say that Function of Beauty products are bad. They're definitely not. They have some solid products, and for a period of time, I did really enjoy them. It's just to say that customized hair care is definitely not necessary, and you're not necessarily going to see better results just because you're using a brand that claims to be customized for your hair. At the end of the day, there are just so many ingredients that serve very similar, if not identical, purposes in hair care products, and just because you have a different set of ingredients than your friend doesn't mean that your hair is going to be radically transformed. So as just one example, let's say you have a conditioner with jojoba oil and your friend has a conditioner with sweet almond oil. Both of those oils are going to nourish and soften and condition your hair, and you're probably not going to see a difference because of the difference in oil, you know? That's something, this topic is something that I could make an entire video about. So if you would like me to make a video on my updated thoughts on customized hair care, if you really want me to dive into the science behind all of the claims and kind of look at it from a marketing lens as well, since I do have that background, let me know. I'm totally down to do that. But for now, I will just say, Function of Beauty just was not my favorite over my other favorite shampoos and conditioners. I definitely preferred those, and I will make sure to list those in the description box below. Next up is the Timeless Skincare Vitamin C Serum. If you have been around for a while, then you will know that I talked about this product in so many videos. I recommended it all the time. I loved it, and for what it's worth, I still do think it's a great product, but I haven't used it in months. I think the last time that I used that was in September of 2021. It's been a while. And the reason for that is because I decided to test out The Ordinary's Buffet Plus Copper Peptides. And in order to maximize efficacy of this product, The Ordinary recommends avoiding use of it in the same routine as strong acids and antioxidants like vitamin C. You're not supposed to use them at the same time. So I decided to put the Timeless Vitamin C skincare product to the side so that I could test this out. I used a whole bottle of it, and I was not expecting to see the results that I saw on my skin. It just looked so plump and glowy and healthy. I was in love. And I'll make sure to list the transformation video that I have on this product if you want to hear my in-depth thoughts on it, kind of the science behind the ingredients. That will be available to you there. But in short, I really, really love the results that I saw, enough so that, is that the way you say that? Enough so? So much so, I think that's what I was going for there, that I didn't want to stop using it. So I have been using the Buffet plus copper peptides ever since, and I am still obsessed with the results that I'm seeing. So at this point in time, I don't plan to stop using this and switch back to vitamin C. I don't know if at some point in the future I'll decide to experiment with that again, maybe do like an alternating day thing, but for right now, I'm loving this so much, so I'm not using the Timeless Vitamin C anymore. But if you are interested in purchasing a vitamin C serum, a 20% vitamin C serum that is effective and also affordable, I would 100% still recommend the Timeless Vitamin C Serum. It is so good, and I just don't think you can go wrong with it. So I'll still list that below, even though I'm not currently using it, because I did really used to enjoy it. Next up is the Pond's Cold Cream. This is such a throwback. This takes me back to the very, very start of my YouTube channel when I was definitely, well, the very start of my YouTube channel was all over the place, but the start of my beauty YouTube channel, when I was very focused on reviewing skincare products and brands, and I was loving the Pond's Cold Cream at that time for makeup removal. But obviously, as time goes on, especially when you're a YouTuber, you're testing out new products all the time. And I just decided that I was no longer obsessed with that product because it's pretty messy compared to some of my other makeup removal favorites. So when you are kind of rubbing that into the skin to melt down makeup on the face, I wouldn't say that is the messiest part of it. I think the messiest part of it is eye makeup removal. Like, oh my gosh, mascara everywhere, it gets in your eyes. I just can't stand that. So that's probably the biggest reason why I stopped. But even still, I feel like it doesn't rinse away makeup and melt down makeup as quickly and easily as some of my other favorite balms and oils. So I stopped buying that. My personal favorite mess-free makeup removal method is still the micellar water with a microfiber towel method. I'll list both of these below. I've been using Garnier for years. I love it. It's just so nice because there's none of that issue with mess or getting product in your eyes. I love, love, love micellar water and a microfiber towel. But I do agree that it's like I'm hearing you guys talking back to me. I'm guessing some of you are going to be thinking that this is not as nourishing and softening and moisturizing on the skin as something like Pond's Cold Cream, and I totally agree with that. So I will list some of my more nourishing makeup removal favorites that I think are a little bit less messy in the description box below. Next up is the Australian Gold Tinted Sunscreen. This is another sunscreen that takes me back because it was such a fan favorite, especially here on YouTube. Everyone was recommending the Australian Gold Tinted Sunscreen because it was one of the tinted sunscreens, one of the only tinted sunscreens that was truly matte on the skin and also had more than one shade option. That was really difficult to find at the time. It honestly still is very difficult to find. So I totally understand why so many people, including myself, recommended this product so often. But as time went on, I realized I just didn't actually love it anymore. I felt like compared to other sunscreens that I was testing out, it just felt too thick and heavy on my skin. It definitely has a bit of a creamier consistency, and I just didn't love the way that it sat either once it was fully dried down. It just made my skin look too dull and almost a little bit dirty, I feel like. I don't know. I feel like there's something about a mattifying sunscreen that has an undertone that doesn't quite match your skin that just makes your skin look kind of muddy and dirty. So I didn't love it anymore. I think that the better option for a tinted sunscreen that has a matte finish and is also available in 3 shades is the Michelle Sun Shield Liquid SPF 50. This is definitely still matte on the skin, but I feel like it doesn't look quite as dry as the Australian Gold sunscreen, and it is a lot lighter weight. It has a very runny, liquidy consistency. It sits lighter weight on the skin, so I definitely prefer this. But even still, I sometimes feel like it looks a little muddy just because of the color in the medium shade. When I don't have self-tanner on, the light shade actually works really well with me, but because I have such warm tone self-tanner on, the medium shade I think is just not nearly as warm, and it just looks a little off. So that's always going to be the struggle with a tinted sunscreen. When there are only 1 or 2 or 3 shades available, it's just a lot of the times impossible to find something that looks really nice on the skin. But I still think that this is better than Australian Gold. What do you guys think, for those of you that have tried both? Next up is the Neutrogena Hydroboost Water Gel. This is another product that was so hyped up in the early stages of skincare YouTube, and for good reason. It's drugstore, it has hyaluronic acid, which was the ingredient at the moment, and it has such a nice texture. It's like this gel cream. It feels very hydrating and refreshing on the skin. I really loved that for a period of time, but for some reason it started to make my skin sting and burn. I was getting some irritation with it, which I have definitely heard before with the Hydroboost range from Neutrogena. So I don't know why that is, because hyaluronic acid is not something that really ever irritates my skin in other products. So I personally don't think it's that. I don't know. So if you are looking for a jelly moisturizer that is at a similar price point, Dermatology has one. It is one of their newer launches. It's called their Water Cream Moisturizer. And with the 20% off discount code that I have in all of my description boxes, it actually ends up being 99 cents cheaper than Neutrogena, which is kind of funny. So $28 with that discount code. You obviously don't have to use that. I do make a small commission if you do, which I appreciate so much. It's available to you, no pressure. You guys get it. I just feel like I always have to say that, but this is really nice. I would say it's probably a little bit less creamy than the Neutrogena one and a little bit more of a true gel, but still, I think it serves the exact same kind of purpose, and this never stings or burns on my skin. So I picked this. Next up is the Face Halo. I do still have several of these, so I'm not gonna throw them away, but I have kind of stopped reaching for these for makeup removal on my face, and I've been repurposing them to actually refresh my underarm area, which is a beauty hack that I just shared in a recent video where I shared 10 life-changing beauty hacks. So if you haven't seen that yet, I will list that below, but I'm not using these on my face anymore for a couple reasons. There's nothing wrong with this. I think it's a really great product. I feel like this was one of the first products like this that really made people think about how they removed makeup. I know I used to just use like tossable cotton rounds. Those were so rough on my skin and scratchy. I'm like, oh. So this type of product, I do think kind of changed the game when it came to makeup removal. But one issue that I have with it is the size compared to the microfiber towel that I use and others that I have that are like double the size of this. This is just so much bigger, and I definitely prefer more surface area when I'm trying to remove makeup. I think that it makes it, I don't know, not necessarily easier, but since, I don't know, like I have a lot of makeup on, I feel like I need this whole thing to get it all off. And I definitely do think that these towels are softer. I just love the way that they feel on my skin. So I am always reaching for these over the Face Halo. This is still a soft material, but compared to this is definitely softer, and I got these off of Amazon and they're definitely more affordable. So this is just my pick over the Face Halo, even though I don't think this is a bad product. If you have this, I don't think you have to stop using it, but if you want something that's bigger and even softer, listed below. All right, next up is the Colorescience Sunforgettable Total Protection Face Shield Sunscreen. Just the original, not the other versions like the matte one or the flex ones. I still use those, but I don't ever use the original anymore because I just have sunscreens I like a lot better, even though I did really love this at one point. So this is really the sunscreen that introduced me to the world of a mineral sunscreen that did not leave a white cast on the skin. If you haven't tried this product before, it has just a little bit of a subtle peachy tint that doesn't show up on the skin as far as color and coverage, but does eliminate any white cast that it would have had, given that zinc oxide is the active ingredient. So if you're looking for a zinc oxide sunscreen that doesn't leave a white cast, this is still what I would recommend if you have dry skin. It's creamy, it's moisturizing, it has a really nice dewy finish. But for me, I think it just started to feel too thick and heavy compared to other sunscreens that I was testing out. Like, for example, all of my beautiful Asian sunscreens that I've been having a love affair with. So again, if you're looking for a sunscreen that hits all of those parameters, then the Colorescience sunscreen will be the one for you. But if you are okay using a sunscreen that has next generation chemical filters, that you can find in Asian sunscreens, then I would highly recommend testing out some Asian sunscreens. You will not be disappointed. They feel incredible on the skin. They reapply so beautifully. You just can't go wrong. So I'm holding this up because I think that this is my current favorite Asian sunscreen that's moisturizing. So if you want something that still feels moisturizing on the skin, but is just nicer to reapply and lighter weight, this you have to try. It is the Enjoy Super Mild Sun Essence from Skinnick. It's also an SPF 50 like the Colorescience sunscreen. I'm in love with this. It feels so beautiful on the skin, you guys. Oh my gosh. But if you would like to see this compared to a lot of other Asian sunscreens that have slightly different textures and finishes, I will list a video that I recently posted below where I share my top 10 favorite Asian sunscreens. So many freaking goodies in that video. But anyway, all of that to say, that is why I don't reach for Colorescience anymore, even though I definitely still think there are people that would really enjoy it. It's just not a staple for me. All right, next up is the Tanologist Express Tan Water. This is a product that I initially fell in love with because it was the first tan product I had ever tried that didn't have a color guide and was completely clear. And for me, that was such a game changer. If you're a self-tanner, you know that there's literally nothing more disgusting than baking in dirty product all over your body, product that smells and is sticky and makes your clothes and your sheets and everything messy. It is so gross. So using something that was clear was amazing for me. I loved it, but I have just decided that tan waters in general are not for me. I feel like they're just a lot trickier to use than other products, and Tanologist has other products that don't have a color guide that I think are just easier to use. With a water, I feel like, I don't know, even though you have to do this with any tan product, trying to remember the exact number of sprays that you get on each body part so that you can duplicate that on the other side feels harder for me. I think because it's harder to really direct the spray like in a specific area. Some of it doesn't get on your arm and you can spray it right on the mitt, but I felt like I didn't get as good of results with that and the tan wasn't as even because I think a lot of it just absorbed into the mitt. I don't know. It's probably just a me problem at the end of the day, but with a mousse, I think I just have an easier time with application and I get better, more consistent, even results. So I definitely prefer their mousse. This is the Express Tan Self Tan Mousse. I use the shade Dark and this is also clear, no color guide. I just think it's easier to use something moussey than a spray. I don't know, do any of you guys feel that way? Maybe I'm just crazy, but I love this product. It's so good. The water's just, yeah, not my thing these days. Second to last is the Morphe 35O palette. This was probably the most popular eyeshadow palette on YouTube for at least a year. Everybody and their mother had this palette and was obsessed with it, and I was no exception. I freaking loved the Morphe 35O palette, and I have talked about why I no longer buy Morphe palettes in general in previous videos. I will list the video where I talk about that below, but this is more specific to the color story of this palette. So I guess it's not just this palette, but really any eyeshadow palette that has a super overtly warm toned color story like Urban Decay Naked Heat or Naked Cherry. I also had both of those palettes. I used to be an eyeshadow palette hoarder, you guys. I had problems. I have moved on from that phase of life. It's actually kind of crazy how much I was obsessed with eyeshadow and how much I just do not even think about it anymore. But I just think that this type of extremely warm toned look with really bright reds and oranges is just not flattering on me these days. I don't know if it was ever flattering on me, but especially when I just have my natural fair skin, I feel like it just looks so harsh on me. And even still, I feel like there is definitely a way to lean into warm tones and play that up on the eyes, but in a way that is so much more natural and doesn't utilize bright oranges and bright reds. So I do not use eyeshadows like that ever anymore. You guys know I don't really ever wear eyeshadow, period, but I have been kind of missing it in my life. I don't know, like I used to be so obsessed with just like a full self tan like this and a really beautifully blended eyeshadow look with some gorgeous like golden champagne shimmer. That was my favorite ever. Oh my gosh. So maybe I'll start hunting for some more neutral, just wearable palettes to create looks like that. Or maybe not, I'm not really sure, but I have kind of been missing eyeshadow. I just am definitely not missing the bright reds and oranges and yellows. No, thank you. And last, but certainly not least, is the Vanicream Gentle Facial Cleanser. If you have been around for a while and have watched all of my skincare videos, then you will know how much I talked about this product. I was in love with it. It was my #1 holy grail cleanser for the longest time, because for the longest time, it was the only thing that did not cause my skin to sting and burn. And I had probably like a year-long period where I just had constant barrier damage, very severe barrier damage that I was battling, and everything made my skin feel like it was being set to flame. Except for that cleanser, except for Vanicream in general. They're an incredible brand for sensitive skin. I absolutely love the brand. That is my top recommendation for anyone that's dealing with irritation, especially if you're just starting off using tretinoin and you need something gentle to pair with it. So good. But I have just been so obsessed with creamier, milkier cleansers, I don't know why I said it like that I haven't repurchased Vanicream in so long, because that one has more of a jelly consistency. And while there was nothing wrong with that, I just love a creamy cleanser these days. I feel like it just feels so nice and soft on the skin. My skin always feels very replenished after I use a milky cleanser. It looks really hydrated. It's just so nice. I have so many that I love, but one that I've been using a lot that I would recommend is the La Roche-Posay Toleraine Dermo Cleanser. Oh, you guys, if you've never tried a milky cleanser like this, you need to. There are definitely some that are not as good as others, but something like this, you just can't beat it. All right, you guys, we are going to wrap up this video here. I really hope that you enjoyed walking down beauty memory lane with me, and you'll have to let me know in the comments below if any of these products are also in your beauty graveyard, or are you still using and loving some of them? If that's the case, I am glad that you are, of course. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, so many of the products that I talked through are products that I still think are amazing. It's just that I have found some replacements that I prefer. So let me know that if there's anything I talked about that sounds enticing to you. Everything is going to be listed and linked in the description box below, so it's easy for you to find and purchase if you are interested. If you would like me to do a part 2 of this video, let me know that in the comments as well. I can definitely do that. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, click on that notification bell, and send my channel to a friend. Thank you so much. All of those things really help me, so I appreciate it so much. And what else? Sometimes, because I have said my intro and outro so many times, when I'm in the middle of them, I forget if I'm saying my intro or outro. It's like muscle memory at this point, and then I black out. But since this is my outro, I will just say, make sure to stay tuned for my next video, because it will be up in a few days. But until then, I hope you have a great few days.